Hey guys, how's it going? Happy New Year. It is January 1st, 2021. And what do we say about last year? What can we say about last year that hasn't already been said? Probably nothing. Probably nothing. So this is just my kind of year-end recap. Wasn't a whole lot going on because of circumstances, which I'm not going to go into because everybody's talked about it, and we all know it's bad. We all know it is affecting everything and whatnot. So we're not going to talk about that. I mean, we're kind of going to talk about that, but so earlier in the year, January, February, I played 2 shows and went to 3. Both Outlaw Saint and Strike 13 had shows. Saint in January, on January 3rd at Club Underground with Beyond Forever and New Defective, which is very cool. And then in February, the date I don't know, but it's on this poster. I had a show at Nicence in Savage with the Kismet Project. So that was cool. And then the 3 shows I went to were here. And then, so the last one of those was the first Metal Night Wednesdays at Part Wolf that our friend Cole was doing. And she had booked, I did a video on all 3 of those shows actually. And she had booked these 6 months out. I mean, we had shows till like June or July booked and ready to go. And Strike was supposed to play on the second of those in March 18th. But as we all know, the plague happened, and the first shutdown occurred on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, at 6 o'clock p.m., which I'm sure all the bars and restaurants in town were just giddy about. I mean, it's understandable. It had to be done. We get it. But really, of all the days, of all the times, 6 o'clock p.m. on St. Patrick's Day, probably one of the biggest bar holidays of the year. One of them. Not the one, but one of them, for sure. And then I remember... yeah, so that happened on the 17th. We were supposed to play on the 18th, and we decided we decided on Monday of that week, because there were kind of rumors going around about things shutting down and doing whatever. And at least one of the other bands had already pulled out. So Strike decided as a band that we were going to do the noble thing and pull out. And that pretty much left Cole with nobody, and then that show was canceled, and Dominoed and all the other ones are canceled. And it was just kind of a mess. But the thing, because my job, my industry was not in the lockdown, stay home, furloughed, quarantined, whatever you want to call it. I've kept working. I've been working this whole entire time. So the oddest thing to me was that next morning, or coming home that night, and going by all the bars and restaurants in full St. Patrick's Day decor and glory and being absolutely empty. That was one of the freakiest things I've ever seen. Of course, it became commonplace when nothing was open. but it was a little strange. It was a little strange. And there were some other things that happened during the summer, which I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to get political and all that stuff. So, but we all know what happened. We all are aware of what happened. We all are aware of why it happened. And it was just a snowball effect. And, you know, it is what it is. Let's just try to improve and the best we can and move forward and, you know, all that. So, let's move on to better things. So, yeah, no shows to go to, no shows to play, which, and I've told this to a bunch of people, I honestly found kind of a relief in that. There's a lot of things that occurred this year that I didn't think I would do, but I think some of them I had to do, and I felt that sense of relief. I'll explain. So, I mean, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I was going to a lot of shows. I was playing a lot of shows. I was in 2 bands. I was, you know, doing these videos, doing all the reviews, and it began to kind of feel like work. Like if I went to a show and didn't document it in some way, and again, this is all my doing. I did all of this. No one asked me to do this. This is just something I felt inside like I needed to do, and I did it for a while, for a couple years or whatever, but it got to be the point where I'd feel guilty if I didn't like film at least one song for each band and like do a video on it, and which I shouldn't have, but it just kind of became that. So going to shows kind of didn't lose their appeal or like their magic or anything. It just became a different thing. I mean, I still enjoyed going. I still enjoyed, you know, outside of the one song I filmed. I mean, the rest of it was great, and I enjoyed it, and, you know, did whatever. Talked to a lot of people, bought a lot of merch. But, you know, it kind of became the pressure I put on myself to do that, you know, kind of messed with my head a little bit. So not having that, and I know a lot of bands that do this full time and are really hurting right now and are really screwed. And I feel for them, absolutely. I mean, but as far as I'm concerned, I was like, okay, now that's a whole nother thing I don't have to worry about. Which sounds weird and sounds bad, and I don't mean it that way. I mean, I love this scene and everybody in it, and it's all good, but it just, again, just felt like something that I could take off my plate and be like, okay, don't worry about that anymore. And then with the playing the shows, because that got to me a little nuts and everything else. So I saw this mandatory break as kind of like, you know, I could breathe again a little bit. Which I know sounds horrible, but and you know, that led to a lot of soul searching, and that led to a lot of other things. It eventually led me to leave Outlaw Saint a couple months ago, and there was a plan for me to leave Strike as well, but I don't think that's going to happen, honestly. And hopefully within the next month or so, I can get into a rehearsal space, which is, you know, all I wanted at this point is just to get in a space I can just have all my gear set up and just go in there and do whatever. And as I explained to people and put a little video out when I made this decision, just to kind of get back to the roots of why I started playing in the first place, and you know, not have to learn songs or run sets or do whatever. It's just a matter of finding that music in, and as I said, just kind of sitting down at the kit and kind of seeing what my hands and feet just do, or playing to different stuff, or whatever. Which again, once I get in the space, hopefully by the end of the month, I'll be in there. I'll start doing. Hopefully, we'll start doing like some drum videos to throw up here, and get that kind of content going. And since I'll have 2 fully functional kits, maybe I can invite other drummers, and we can do, interviews in there, or we can, just kind of play around with stuff or do whatever. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how all that pans out. But, yeah, so that's where I'm at. Yeah, so then everything kind of stopped for a while. The last in-person interview I did for Midwest Metal Promotions was at the 331 Club, where I interviewed Jason from Trita in their van, which is fun. And that was in February, and there were a bunch of shows I was gonna go to end of February, beginning of March, but just didn't. I mean, I know Echoes of the Fallen, I think, had a CD release show or a big show somewhere that I was going to go to, but I was rewatching the 3 or 4 videos I did earlier today to prepare for this, videos I did pre-COVID, and apparently that morning I woke up and just felt like shit. It was Saturday. I just woke up and felt like crap, so sat around, did nothing all day. Was recovered by the next morning when I did the video, but so yeah, everything kind of stopped, and we all stopped. We all just kind of went into a holding pattern, and kind of waited it out and see what was going to happen. Which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, to take time and kind of take stock and do all that fun stuff. But then I was like, well, I still want to do interviews for MMP and for Natalie. I want to, continue to put that content out. So I had to get familiar with Zoom, which apparently, so
four or five interviews, I think. Yeah, I think like 4 or 5 Zoom interviews, which were fun, which were an experience. So, I mean, I know I can still, do these interviews if I want to, without, being contact free and everything, which is nice. And I mean, we'll see how the new year. I have a list of people who I want to try to talk to. And I'll put out a post about that and tag all those people and annoyingly say, hey, yeah. But I mean, some of these people have been on my list for a while and just haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, it was kind of a weird year. It was very much a year of, when this is over, when we get back to normal, these were kind of the catchphrases we're all kind of holding on to. And, nothing is ever going to be normal. I mean, this had too much of a global impact and really, had us really thinking about what's necessary, what's not necessary, what's, what we should have been doing all along. Stuff like that. So I think it's I mean, hopefully we'll be get back to kind of normal, but I don't think it'll ever be truly the way it was before. That's my prediction. Just mine alone. You know, it is what it is. So anyway, all that being said, some cool stuff still happened. A lot of people put out albums still. You know, because you can record safely, and even, I mean, nowadays you can record pretty much in your house, so you don't actually have to physically go anywhere and talk to people, which is nice. I mean, the one holdover, of course, from, and these are, I don't remember the release dates for all these, so these are kind of, however, whatever, I'm just going to mention them, and this is not everything that came out, obviously, locally. These are just a few of my favorites, you know, that I remember came out. You know, holdover from 2019, which I still say, just found a ring light downstairs in the basement in my building. Somebody's throwing away, and so I threw it up and said, "Hey, let's go with this." And yeah, it was completely distracting. One holdover from 2019, the new Trita album. I think they're recording more. I think they're in the studio as we speak, possibly. Again, if you don't have this album, get it. It is incredible. That came out in 2019. I thought it came out this year, like early this year, but it is the date of 2019, so it must have came out late last year, or late 2019, because last year was 2020. And two other mentions. Night of Joy put out Devil's EP in March, and in December, I think it was December, Hex Vortices dropped their EP, Precipice, which is awesome, and you should get. The other cool thing that happened is in October, I think, November, somewhere in there. Maybe earlier. I think it was October. The fellows of Hex Vortices asked me. They were doing a online music festival with a company based on South America, with a bunch of other bands, and I mean all over the world. And they were one of the few, or the only, I think, Midwest American bands to be asked to do this. And I don't remember what the festival was called. I apologize. And they were having somebody do the audio, and they'd asked me if I wouldn't mind doing the video. So I got to go down to their rehearsal space, and they had a GoPro on a stick, and yeah, I did my best to film them, which was more difficult than I thought it'd be, considering it's a GoPro, so the screen is about that big. But I think it turned out okay. I hope it. I mean, they seemed to like it. I watched the playback when they actually aired the festival, like a month later or whatever, a couple weeks later, and it didn't look horrible. But I think I could have done better, but for what it was. But the opportunity to do it was awesome, and hopefully that will pay itself forward, and I'll get to do more of that, or maybe just insert myself and do more of that. I don't know. But anyway, other notable mentions: Uncle Daddy, some of my favorite dudes in the world, released their full length, entitled Full Length. Which is awesome, and you should get it.
you don't know, and I've mentioned these guys a lot. If you've never seen Uncle Daddy, go see them. They're awesome. Volcano Diving, put out their full length. And why is everything so freaking glary? That is not cool, man. That is just not cool. I don't like that. Well, what the hell? Anyway, Volcano Diving, who are awesome, who are just fun, put out this. Another great album, and this one truly, I mean, nothing against their first two albums, but this one has enough stylistic differences that it actually is, I mean, really, really good. And this, I hope they continue in this direction. And then, of course, is a new Endless Rain, Time of Tyrants. And, I mean, it's just good stuff. I pre-ordered it, so I got the signed copy, which is awesome. But yeah, this is a really, really good album. And then, of course, my first Zoom interview was with the boys of Gorgatron, promoting their new album, Pathogenic Automation. And of course, I got glare like a motherfucker. And pre-ordered this as well. I did a video when I got this package, so I got a signed copy as well. Then the other cool thing, so at the first show that I went to, the one at the Whiskey, I saw Surrounded by Water for the first time. And this was the last t-shirt I bought at a show. I've bought many online since. I mean, at least, God, 6, 8, 10, dozen? I don't know. I lost count somewhere along the way. But this is the last t-shirt I bought at a show. And that was at the show. And then earlier or later, they teamed up with my friends Fix a Glitch, and they put out this neat little cassette. It's a live split. There you go. It's a live split recorded at the Red Sea. Very basic. You have Surrounded by Water on one side, you have Fix a Glitch on the other, and of course you get the digital copy. But it's just, you know, there you go. Split personalities. Focus. You're not gonna focus, are you? We could do this all day. I got time. I got nothing going on. Anyway, that's not gonna focus. But split personalities. Cool album. Live, basically Surrounded by Water. Very cool. And then lastly, my former mates in Outlaw Saint released this EP, which, okay, so it's 5 songs, 3 new ones, and then 2 hidden tracks, which are older demos. But of the 3 original tracks, newer tracks, and I can honestly say this because I've been the drummer on all 3 Outlaw Saint releases. Outside of a couple of minor little glitches that I noticed, this is probably the best music Outlaw Saint has released. 2020 revisions, and yes, this is still a sealed copy, but whatever. Yeah, Backseat Treaty, The Way She Walks, and WTF. I mean, yeah, it's just good stuff. And again, I'm on all 3. I recorded all 3. This is the best one. This is the one you should pick up. What else? Oh yeah, the other major project that I took on was the idiotic looking back project of stripping, sanding, and staining my one drum kit, my 7-piece PEP. Which I did here in my apartment, which was not a smart move. Had to buy sanders and all kinds of, it turned into a mess. It turned into an absolute mess, and I'm still feeling the ramifications of the dust. But it was fun, and the result, it came out really, really good. Montage here. So, yeah, so that was fun. If I ever do that again, I'm actually going to find a workshop somewhere to actually do the sanding. Because, yeah, you don't want to do that in your apartment, especially because it's bad. So I did that, and before that was done, I think I had the snare done. The second show oh yeah, and then, oh my god, I really gotta write scripts for these or something because I forget shit. During the summer, Outlaw Saint did 2 shows, both at Route 47. We did one in July. Opening up for Rock Gods, which is always fun, and that, I mean, it was July. It was summer. It was mid-pandemic. But aside from all the staff wearing masks, you never would have known that anything had happened because nobody else was wearing masks. There was no distancing at all. It was nuts. It felt like normal again, which was good and probably bad. Second show we did in August, was the 10th annual dog rescue ride thing. The Minnesota Rescue Run, and it was a bike rally. Started at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and we started. It was us and
Beyond Forever, and then 32 Headshots, who organized it, or Darren organized it. And yeah, I mean, that was fun. There was nobody there when we started playing at 1:30, which is fine because they had, you know, stuff outside, including like, you know, bikini car wash and stuff. So, but that show was significant to me only because I'd played Route 47 / Pickle Park / you know, whatever else it was called at least half a dozen times, maybe more, give or take. That show in August was the first time I actually used my own gear on stage, because usually we were just, you know, you would just use the drums of the other bands because it's just easier and whatever. So that was interesting that I actually got to use my own kit. Kind of wish I would have had it done beforehand, but you know what you do. So that was the significance of that. And then yeah. So yeah, I played a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows this year, or last year. 5 shows in 2020, and there were years past. I mean, that would be, I'd do that many shows in a month. I'd play that many shows in a month, which was kind of insane. The other thing, drum related, that happened is, so on the Facebook, I know I am so low. There we go. That's better. It's been so long since I've done one because I forgot how. So on Facebook, I was seeing ads for a company out of England called Collision Drumsticks, and curiosity got the best of me, and I saw the testimonials, and they say, "Oh, these are the most heavy-duty, sturdiest 6. You know, they last for months and months and months, and fine, whatever." So at that point, I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll order some." So I ordered 3 pair, and got them in. And I got the Collision, can we read that? The 5AR. So it's a 5A with a little bit of extra reach. But here's the interesting thing. Okay, so here is a typical American 5A. Promar Classic 5A, Firebrand. And these are the sticks I had been using, which are pretty much a little bit thicker 5A with a little bit extra length. And that is the ProMark TX747W. These, if you can see that, are approximately the same size, same width, and then of course the ProMark, or the 747 being a little bit longer. Now, this shows that stick sizes are not universal. So this is 5A. This is the English, the British 5A. Okay, you can't really see it on camera, but there's like a significant thickness difference. I mean, this 5A is almost as thick as a 5B, and drummers will know what I'm talking about. And then the length, okay, so the 747 was longer than the regular 5A. The British 5A, which is this guy, is again like an inch longer than the extended American 5A, or 747. So these are bigger and longer, but they do feel good. I mean, they do have a good feel to them. And these I got probably a week before Strike 13's last show, which was supposed to be a big holiday show. It was supposed to be at Nison's. We had like 2 other bands that were gonna join us. That's just weird. But of course, the stay-at-home order got extended again, and which is what we figured would happen. So we did a live stream from a super secret location, and had Bad Man and Graveslave open up for us, and they were going to do the show regardless. But yeah, I got these about a week before, so I practiced with them once. And yeah, even after a strike practice, they held up fairly well. And then I used them for the live stream, and because of the number of shots that were brought to stage, I was dropping them, so I wound up essentially playing all 6 sticks, all 3 pairs that night, only because I kept dropping them and couldn't reach it, so I just grabbed a new one, and yeah, it was that thing. But so far, I'm actually fairly impressed. They're a little bit pricey. I mean, they're roughly $11 a pair, which is pretty average now, which is kind of sad because sticks used to be like $5 a pair. I remember those days. But they are coming from England, so I mean, so you have a little bit more shipping and whatnot. But yeah, I'm actually really impressed with them. So I would say definitely check them out. And of course, they're not paying me to say that. Though they do seem to take endorsees like left and right. So maybe for this year, that's something I'll have to look into and see if I can get an endorsement or something. Who knows? So yeah, that was pretty much 2020. I mean, yeah, a couple shows and just a lot of weird feelings, a lot of the same discussions on, I mean, if one more person asked me, how you doing? You doing all right? No, I'm fine. I'm good. I know people care, and I get that. Because we should be looking out for each other. I mean, especially, the last couple of weeks during the holidays, because suicide rates, which are going to be high anyway, and then plus 2020 and everything. So yeah, we should be looking out for each other. We should be taking care of each other. But yeah, just, it is what it is, and I mean, hopefully this year will be better. We have a vaccine now, and hopefully that will do something. And again, I don't think it'll ever go back to normal, but I mean, as long as we can get back to somewhat normal and reopen some of these businesses that are losing money left and right, and it's do what you do. So yeah, just support everybody you can, whether that means supporting a restaurant by doing takeout or buying gift cards or whatever. Support your local artists by Facebook traffic and following all their socials and buying merch and posting about them and all that stuff, which I say all the time, but it is crucial. It is really, really critical. And hopefully we can get back on board and do some normal stuff. That'd be nice. So yeah, that's it for me. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. I think so. But yeah, just take care of each other and be well and be cool and don't be a dick and support every single one of your locals. See you later.